I remember the day I left home like it was etched into my bones. The sun was setting behind the barren fields, casting long shadows over the land that had once been vibrant, full of life and promise. But for me, it felt like the world had already erased me. Every insult, every mocking word from my family echoing louder than the dying light. I had just told them I was leaving to chase a dream they'd labeled ridiculous, impossible, and a waste of time. They'd called me naive, a fool, and a disgrace to everything they stood for. And honestly, I'd believed them at first, but that belief had shattered the moment I faced the truth. I couldn't stay in a place that thrived on crushing my spirit. I was an eco-engineer once, a hopeful, ambitious kid who wanted to heal the planet. Until that day. The day my colleagues stole my patent, discredited everything I'd worked for, and turned my life's work into a mockery. The public humiliation was brutal. I was called a fraud, a charlatan, and worse, by the very people who once cheered me on. So I did what I had to do. I left. I abandoned the familiar, the comfort of my family's judgment, and I dove into the abyss of deep-sea microbiology, a field dismissed as impractical, obscure, and downright useless by most. They clothe it crazy to study bacteria from the ocean depths, as if microbes could somehow save the world. But I knew better. I knew that beneath the waves, hidden in the darkest trenches, lay an untapped treasure of solutions, organisms capable of digesting pollutants, purifying water, restoring ecosystems. I poured everything into discovering them. The years blurred together. Labs became my sanctuary, failures my constant companions. My research was met with skepticism, even ridicule. Who cares about bacteria from the deep? People sneered. But I kept going. I knew that these microbes held the key, the future of environmental healing. Slowly, I began to develop biotech solutions that could, quite literally, turn barren land into lush green again, purify contaminated water, and breathe new life into dying ecosystems. And then, finally, I succeeded. The breakthrough was monumental. My discovery of oceanic bacteria that could break down toxic waste and revitalize degraded land changed everything. Governments and corporations started to listen. My innovations weren't just theoretical anymore. They were practical, scalable, and revolutionary. I watched as once desolate landscapes blossomed into thriving forests, as polluted rivers cleared and teemed with life. I had proven the skeptics wrong, not just with words, but with undeniable, living proof. But what mattered most was not the recognition or the awards. It was the journey from rejection to triumph, from doubt to undeniable success. And it was all rooted in that relentless pursuit of what I believed was right, despite the world telling me I had become what they mocked me for, an innovator, a pioneer, someone who refused to be silenced by their scorn. And so I returned home, not because I needed their approval, but because I wanted them to see what I had become. I wanted them to witness the power of perseverance, the truth that passion, when fueled by resilience, could rewrite the narrative. When I pulled into the driveway that evening, I saw their faces, older now, eyes widened with a mix of disbelief, guilt, and something else I couldn't quite name. The house was filled with the familiar clutter, the same old walls, the same old voices. But I carried something new proof. I stepped out of my car and walked straight to the front yard, where a small demonstration area was set up, an eco-restoration project I had funded as a gift to the land that once felt so forsaken. The soil was rich, teeming with life. Trees that once looked dead now stood tall, leaves shimmering in the evening sun, roots bursting with vitality. My family watched in silence as I announced, "This is what I've built." From nothing, with microbes from the depths. This is the future I fought for. I saw their eyes flicker with a mix of shame and awe. I could feel the weight of every doubt, every mockery lifting as I spoke my truth. Then I pointed to a small plot, an area where I'd transformed a wasteland into a lush garden. This was dirt, nothing but dust. Now it's alive because I believed in what others called impossible. I believed in the unseen, the unheard, the microbes that crawl beneath the surface. They saved this land, just like they saved me. That moment, standing there, was more than just a victory. It was a reckoning. My father's eyes welled with tears, and my mother looked away, her face flushed with regret. My siblings shifted uncomfortably, knowing they had doubted me, dismissed my dreams as foolishness, and I let them see the truth, that I had become everything they said I couldn't be. I stepped closer to them and said softly, "I hope you understand now. Success isn't about how loudly they cheer you at first. It's about how deeply you believe in yourself when no one does." I was mocked because I dared to dream of healing the world in a way they couldn't see. But I kept going, and I proved that even the smallest life, those microbes, can make the biggest difference. The silence stretched long and heavy. Then my father finally spoke, his voice hoarse but sincere. "We were wrong. We didn't see your vision. We dismissed what we didn't understand. But you've shown us that resilience, passion, and belief can change even the most barren land and the most hardened hearts." In that moment, I felt a profound shift. Not just in them, but in me. I had come full circle. No longer the outcast, the ridiculous dreamer, but someone who had redefined what success really means. It's not about accolades or approval. It's about transforming doubt into conviction, about turning despair into hope. As I looked at my family, once my greatest critics, I realized something vital. Their ridicule, their rejection, had fueled my fire. It had pushed me into depths I never would have explored otherwise. And in doing so, I found my true purpose, one rooted in resilience, in healing, in the quiet power of unseen forces working tirelessly beneath the surface. I left that evening knowing I had reclaimed my voice, not with words, but with the truth of what I had built, proof that even in the darkest depths, life finds a way, that success is born from persistence, and that sometimes the greatest victories come after the harshest storms. And as I drove away from that land I had restored, I carried with me a simple, unshakable belief that no matter how fierce the mockery, no matter how bleak the doubt, perseverance can turn the impossible into the inevitable. That's the real triumph, the kind that no one can steal, no matter how loudly they try to drown your voice.